Okay, let's unpack this. Dating apps. We all swipe, or know someone who does, right? But beyond that swipe, what's really going on? You've given us a stack of, well, fascinating sources. They talk about digital connection, sure, but also these shadowy corners, privacy risks, even psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
So today, we're diving deep into that whole complex world.
Yeah, it's true. On the surface, dating apps seem pretty straightforward. You swipe, you match, you chat, but underneath, they're incredibly intricate systems. So our mission today, cut through all that noise. We want to look at the design, the psychology, the societal impact, really help you understand what's at stake. It's more than just swiping. We'll explore the good, the bad, and frankly, the very ugly, and also how these apps are, shaping our lives, maybe even our brains.
Right, so let's start with the bright side then. What did our sources say about the genuine benefits? What's the good news here?
Well, one really big thing is how they expand your social circle. I mean, significantly. Think about people in, say, less populated areas or maybe niche communities. These apps can be a genuine lifeline, connecting them with way more potential partners than they'd ever meet otherwise. It sort of democratizes access to partnership in a way.
That makes sense. It breaks down geographical barriers, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But does a bigger pool mean better connections? Our sources mentioned efficient matching. How does that actually work?
That's a good point. The idea is that because you fill out profiles, state preferences, you're matching on more than just physical attraction. You can filter for emotional traits, mental characteristics, values, that kind of thing. So theoretically, it could speed up that initial getting to know you phase, before you even meet.
Cutting down on wasted time, maybe.
Exponentially, yeah. Leading to maybe more compatible first dates, at least in theory.
And it seems like it works for some people. The sources cite real success stories, right? Lasting relationships.
Absolutely. Lots of couples have met this way. Some studies, suggest nearly 40% of couples now meet via apps, and that number seems to be climbing. It's a huge cultural shift, really.
40%? Wow. Okay.
So looking at the big picture, it's pretty clear these apps are filling a real human need for connection. But then we hit the bad, and this is where the conversation turns towards mental health and body image concerns.
Right, the flip side. So what are the main issues there?
Well, the sources point to a link, often quite strong, between using these apps frequently and experiencing increased anxiety and depression.
Is it the apps causing it, though? Or just reflecting pressures already out there?
That's the tricky part, isn't it? It's likely a complex mix, but
Right.
active use, especially on platforms like Tinder, is associated with poorer body image, more body dissatisfaction, kind of internalizing those often unrealistic beauty standards. And then there's another angle, a darker one, romance scams. They've just exploded.
Oh, yeah, you hear about those.
It's awful. Scammers create fake profiles, exploit people's desire for connection, often for financial gain. We're talking significant amounts of money being lost.
That's really troubling. And it leads us into what the sources call the ugly, which sounds even worse. What about safety risks? Actual physical danger.
Yeah, this is really serious. The sources are stark. Surveys show a significant number of women, particularly, have experienced sexual assault by someone they met through a dating app. It highlights a massive, dangerous gap between the promise of connection and, well, the reality of inadequate safety measures.
That's chilling. Truly chilling. What responsibility do the apps take? You mentioned inadequate measures.
Well, that's the thing. Our sources point out a real lack of robust regulation or even consistent self-regulation. Many apps lack effective ways to report or properly address serious incidents. Some, disturbingly, don't even do background checks on all users, which means, potentially allowing sex offenders onto the platform. It's a huge concern.
Wow, so even if the tech works, the interface is slick. The overall experience can be negative.
For many, yes. Despite the functional design, a lot of users report feeling disheartened, finding profiles unappealing, and the whole process just emotionally draining.
So it begs the question, doesn't it? How can one single tool lead to such wildly different outcomes? Love stories on one hand, serious risks on the other. It really feels like there are intentional design choices happening behind the scenes, almost like a hidden architecture dictating our experience.
Exactly. And that leads us right into the next big question.
Which is, are they designed to be addictive? Let's dig into that. Because our sources mention this class action lawsuit filed Valentine's Day 2024 against Match Group. They own Tinder, Hinge, The League, loads of them. And the lawsuit basically alleges these apps are psychologically manipulative, that they're built to be addictive, encouraging compulsive use.
Right. The core of that argument is that the apps exploit our brain's dopamine reward system, that pleasure circuit. It creates this cycle. Anticipation, will I get a match? Followed by a reward ding, a new like or message. It's very similar psychologically to how gambling or slot machines work. Those little hits of dopamine, that intermittent positive reinforcement, keep you hooked.
But it's not accidental.
Yeah.
The design choices reinforce this, don't they? Like infinite swiping.
Oh, absolutely. Infinite swiping is a classic example. Just like infinite scroll on social media, it keeps you engaged, always wondering what's next. Plus, all the gamification elements. The swipe mechanic itself, the notifications, the premium features you can buy, it's all designed to keep you playing the game.
And one of Tinder's co-founders actually admitted it, right?
Yeah.
Inspired by reward systems.
Yeah, Jonathan Medine. He acknowledged the swipe was influenced by Skinner's intermittent variable reward concepts. It's a known technique to encourage behavior, and you see similar things elsewhere. Hinges, super swipes, Bumble's boosts. They often nudge you towards paying for better odds, creating these little pay-to-play loops that boost engagement and, well, revenue.
Okay, but what do independent experts say? Is it really addiction in the medical sense?
That's where it gets nuanced. Chris Chen, an assistant professor cited in the sources, argues they're definitely designed for engagement, maximum engagement, but maybe not addiction in the clinical definition. However, there's broad agreement that problematic, even compulsive use is widespread.
And the users feel it themselves?
Overwhelmingly. A 2024 study found like 90% of users felt their app use was excessive. 90%. And 70% thought it negatively impacted their mental health. Dr. Jessamy Hibbard points out that this constant hunt for validation likes matches can become compulsive, leading to feelings of dehumanization, low self-esteem, burnout.
It's such a contradiction, isn't it? Match Group says, we help people find love. But then former employees apparently talk about pushing paid features.
Exactly. It's a paradox. Connection versus commerce almost. Though, to be fair, some apps are trying things, like Bumble has a snooze feature, lets you take a break. Thursday limits use to 1 day a week.
Small steps, maybe.
Small steps. But it raises that big question. If the design itself nudges you towards compulsive use, how much responsibility lies with the user and how much with the platform? It's a tough one.
Definitely. Okay, so let's widen the lens again. What about the broader ripple effects? How are these apps changing society, relationships, the whole fabric?
Well, they've undeniably shifted how people meet. It's become much more individualized, almost like shopping for a partner sometimes. And gender dynamics are changing too. Bumble, for instance, having women make the first move that challenges traditional roles. But women still report much higher levels of unwanted attention, harassment, objectification. So it's not a simple fix.
Right. And that huge pool of potential partners we talked about. The sources mentioned the paradox of choice. What's that about?
It's the idea that too much choice can be overwhelming. It can actually make it harder to commit or feel less satisfying when you do choose someone because you're always wondering if someone better is just another swipe away. So while apps clearly increase access, leading to more diverse pairings, interracial, cross-cultural, etc., which is great, they might not necessarily be leading to more stable, long-term relationships overall. Research suggests increased sexual activity, yes, but maybe not commitment. And disturbingly, some studies link app use among college students to higher rates of sexual assault in STIs. It's a complex trade-off.
So looping back to the individual level, the psychological impact seems pretty significant and often negative.
It really does. As we touched on, frequent use is tied again and again to anxiety, depression, lower self-esteem, body image issues. One review found over 85% of studies showed a negative body image impact. Nearly half showed negative mental health impacts overall. And this swiping fatigue phenomenon is real, just the repetitive nature of it all. The constant evaluation, the micro-rejections, it's exhausting. It creates this roller coaster of dopamine hits from matches and dips from rejection or silence, which can be really stressful.
And you mentioned earlier, our sources suggest men might experience some specific negative effects too.
Yes, potentially. There's concern about algorithmic bias, things like match throttling, where the app might limit who sees your profile unless you pay. These pay-for-advantage models could disproportionately affect men, possibly increasing loneliness and exacerbating depression or anxiety for some.
It sounds pretty bleak, but surely it's not all bad for mental health. Are there any positives?
There are nuances, absolutely. Some people do experience positive effects. One study found about 40% reported a boost in self-esteem. Getting matches, having conversations, it can provide social validation and lead to real connections. And for people with social anxiety, the online-first approach can actually be helpful. It allows for a slower, maybe more controlled way to build rapport before meeting face-to-face.
Okay, so there's some balance there.
There is, which leads to the question of strategy, right?
Right.
What can you do to manage the downsides? The advice is generally around mindfulness. Set time limits, check in with yourself, are you feeling okay using this right now? And set clean boundaries about what you're looking for and how you interact.
Makes sense. So thinking about all that, what stands out to you personally, listening to this, about how these apps might be impacting well-being, yours or society's? Okay, now let's shift gears a bit. Let's unpack something that often flies under the radar. Privacy and safety. Real digital dangers. Because these apps ask for so much personal info, don't they? Name, age, location, orientation, politics, health stuff even.
An incredible amount. And the problem is that data isn't always treated with the care you'd expect. Many apps, according to sources like Mozilla's Privacy Not Included project, share or even sell user data to third parties, mostly for targeted advertising. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, many of the big names got flagged for poor privacy practices. And about 64% of apps analyzed apparently create inferences about users, basically, guessing your traits or preferences to sell you things or refine their algorithms.
So they're building these incredibly detailed digital profiles of us.
Wow.
And location data seems especially risky.
Hugely risky. A KU Leuven study found most location-based apps just weren't protecting that data properly, meaning users could potentially be profiled or tracked. And for some apps, they found it was possible to use trilateration to pinpoint a user's exact location. That is deeply alarming.
Terrifying, actually. And it's not just location, right? General security flaws.
Yeah, Kaspersky found back in 2017 that lots of Android versions stored sensitive data, like access tokens from Facebook logins, completely unprotected, meaning hackers could potentially gain full account access. So when you connect these digital vulnerabilities, well, they can lead to very real-world dangers.
Okay, spell those out. What kind of real-world risks are we talking about?
Everything from identity theft and online harassment, which are bad enough, to stalking, digital dating abuse, catfishing, and, as we mentioned, those pervasive romance scams. The scale of scams is huge, over $304 million reported lost in 2020 alone. And they come in all shapes and sizes: military scams, sextortion, fake websites, phishing, malware, even recruiting people as unknowing money mules.
Just awful. And
Yeah.
the online harassment can escalate too.
Tragically, yes. One Australian study found nearly 3/4 of dating app users had experienced some form of online sexual violence or aggression, and that online abuse can, and sometimes does, spill over into real-world physical stalking or assault. It's a serious continuum of risk.
Okay, so for you listening, navigating all this, how do you protect yourself? What are the practical steps?
Well, the advice is pretty consistent. First, be cautious about the information you share, especially early on. Don't give away too many identifying details right away. Second, manage your location settings carefully. Disable precise location if you can, or use approximate settings. Third, be wary of suspicious profiles. Very few pictures, only one vague photo, someone pushing to get off the app too quickly. Fourth, use the app's safety tools. Block and report liberally. Use verification features if they exist. And fifth, critically, if you need someone in person, public place, tell a friend your plans, share your live location with that friend, and avoid going somewhere secluded. Basic safety rules are crucial.
Good advice, but it puts a lot of burden on the user, doesn't it? What about the platform's responsibility?
That's the ongoing debate. Users absolutely need to be vigilant. But sources note that regulators and industry bodies are starting to push for more platform accountability, demanding greater user control over data, more transparency, better safety features. It's slowly changing, hopefully.
Okay, one last area to explore: the future. How is technology itself, particularly AI, changing the dating app landscape?
AI is becoming deeply integrated. Apps are using all that user beta profiles, swipes, chats, feedback to train AI systems. The main goal: better matchmaking and more personalized experiences. For instance, Iris Dating apparently analyzes facial features you find attractive. Tinder uses AI, like Amazon Recognition, to look for personality cues and optimize matches, especially for premium users.
And it's not just matching, right? AI is getting into the conversation itself.
Yeah, that's a newer frontier. Apps like Volar or Teaser AI are experimenting with AI chatbots. These bots might conduct initial virtual dates or even learn to mimic your conversational style to handle those early interactions. Hinge also has an AI feature giving feedback on your profile prompts, trying to coach you into being more appealing.
That feels a bit strange. But, okay, so what are the ethical flags being raised around all this AI integration?
Well, the familiar concerns are still there. Data privacy, obviously. How is all this extra behavioral data being used? And algorithmic bias is a big one. If the AI learns from biased human behavior, it might just reinforce those biases, showing you only certain types of people, for example. So the push is for developers to use diverse training data and, importantly, something called explainable AI or XAI.
Explainable AI.
Yeah, AI systems where you can actually understand why it made a certain recommendation or decision. It brings transparency, which helps build trust and allows for auditing fairness. And of course, ongoing user feedback is vital to catch problems and refine how these AI systems work.
Right, so AI is clearly a double-edged sword here, powerful tool, but also a potential minefield for the future of how we connect. Okay, so we've really covered a lot today. We've dived deep into this world of dating apps. We've seen their power to connect people, sometimes leading to amazing relationships. But we've also seen the sophisticated, sometimes manipulative design aimed at keeping us engaged, the serious risks to mental health, privacy, physical safety, and now the growing role of AI.
Yeah, it really underscores the complexity, doesn't it? These aren't simple tools. As they keep evolving, becoming even more integrated into our social lives, it's just so important for us as users to approach them critically, to really understand both the opportunities they offer and the inherent challenges and risks involved.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought for you to take away as you navigate this world, whether you're swiping, chatting, or just thinking about it. Consider this. Are you truly in control of your digital dating life? Or is the app, with its algorithms and design shaping your experience, your choices, even your desires, more than you realize, and perhaps more profoundly? What does that mean for the future of human connection itself?